Are we ready?
I think we're ready.
Hi, my name's Bill Moore. I moved to Canada about 5 years ago, and this is my presentation through my life with Acromegaly. First, my mom and dad. My dad was an American who joined the Royal Air Force coming through Canada in the 1940s. He's relatively small. He's about 5'6" in height. Because he was small, he was a tail gunner in a Wellington bomber in England and then North Africa. He was badly injured and spent 2 years in a hospital in Toronto recovering from the injuries. And he was basically, they considered him 100% disabled. So he got out of the service, went back to the US, drifted for 6 years, met my mom, and they got married in '52. And when they got married, they had 2 kids, and then they moved to California. My mom also had illness when she was in college, severe illness, which penicillin was used to help her through it, and she had chronic bronchitis for her life. So both of my parents had disability, and a lot of people have disabilities, including us, but we've learned how to live with it. So they moved to California. My dad worked in the aircraft industry. I was under 6 pounds in weight when I was born. I had 2 more siblings, so we had a total of 5 kids in the family. My dad got terribly sick in California, and at that time they decided to move back to Illinois, where they were originally from. Here's me enjoying time on the beach with a pony that every kid at my age in the US have photos of. And again, it was always fun being on the beach in California. Then we moved to West Chicago, Illinois, which is outside the city of Chicago. At that time, my dad was too ill to work, so my mom became a school teacher. At that time, there was a shortage of teachers, so she was able to become a teacher without certification. She was able to get her certification, and she became a first grade, second grade teacher. My dad was the person at home cooking the dinners, teaching us, he took care of us. So he understood, badly, when you're feeling bad, he took good care of us as kids. I had a normal elementary school life, loved to ride bicycles. My dad used to make sailboats for us to sail around in, swimming. In the morning, going to school, my friends would come over, we would play darts. Again, soccer, softball, baseball, football were always important things. And in second grade, I wrote out to the space program, and back then they would send you tons of information about the space program, about Skylab, and I love science. That's just something I really loved since second grade. And then my favorite book in third grade in elementary school was My Side of the Mountain, about some kid that was living in the mountain, runs away, lives in a tree, creates his own life. It was just something I really enjoyed as a kid. Even when I had my own kids, I would read them that story at a very young age because I thought that was a really good story. Then into high school, I was starting to be larger than my brothers. Actually, my brothers weren't large enough to play football, but I was on the football team. I did have issues with excess sweating. My football gear, everything would always be saturated after the football games, after practice. But I was always thinking, I'm working harder than the other people. Then I started getting headaches. They would start behind my eyes and wrap around to my back of my head, and they were getting worse and worse. Of course, we went to the doctor, and the doctor said, it's all in your head, right? And then occasionally when I would be sleeping, I would get a severe cramp in my legs down on this side, and it would just wake me up. Again, it's just, we don't know what it is, maybe not getting enough calcium or something. Okay. I started getting skin tags in my senior year of high school, plus I was also getting a little numbness in my left side on my upper leg. But again, not a big deal, and I started dating Kathy at that time. Then I went to University of Illinois at Chicago Circle. Engineering student, really enjoyed that. But again, I still had excess sweating. I would walk, a half mile, and I would start sweating through my clothes, still having my headaches, still, it's in your head type things. Again, the leg cramps were still there, getting more skin tags. Sex drive was probably normal. Jacket was either large, extra large at that time. Waist was 30-32, shoe sizes were 11, maybe 12 at the end of my senior year. And as you can see in our wedding picture with Kathy, I am sweating through my tuxedo with undergarments and stuff. I was just always sweating, excessively sweating. But again, there's my mom, Kath's family. Kath's dad is 6'5", her brothers are 6'8", 6'7", so big people aren't uncommon. Life after college, I was married in June 13, 1981. Again, I had excessive sweating, headaches. Kath helped me with my headaches, occasional leg cramps. I would wake up, skin tag, and my sex drive all of a sudden started dropping. Oh, I'm working as an engineer in the nuclear power industry, a lot of stress, a lot of people getting laid off. You're concerned about, stress might be causing this lack of sex drive. My weight went up to about 200 pounds. My jackets were now actually extra large. My large jackets no longer fit. Waist went up to 32 or so. My shoes, instead of being 11, now were 12 or 13. But again, I thought maybe foreign manufacturers making smaller shoes. June 1982, Kath and I, this is at one of her family reunions. Her family has over 100. Some people will meet for a family reunion. You can see my face is starting to get a little bit more rounded. I'm building up a little more stomach fat. But again, I'm working in an office, not exercising like you were as a kid, not riding, 100 miles a day on the bicycle, You just keep on making excuses. Oh, why am I getting fat? I'm eating more, not doing as much. Here's me at the office. This happened to be at the Clinton Nuclear Power Station. This was the team of structural engineers I was with. Again, a little bit, better shape than I am currently. It was a happy group of person, but you'll notice Frank, who's sitting next to me. He's a big guy, but he also played professional football. He also had issues with his nerve and his back and stuff. Does he have acromegaly? I don't know, but at that time, no one would say anything. Here's Kath and me in 1984. Again, a little bit, this area of my head's getting bigger. I'm still having headaches. I'm starting to snore, having issues with a little bit of sleeping. We had our first kid. At that time, the doctors were thinking my headaches were sinus infections. They were starting to notice that I was having issues, so you go from one set of antibiotics, that didn't work, you go for the next, and you go for the next, and then you sort of give up, and then it's summertime, and then you're sort of better. Again, I had severe pain in my feet when I would walk, and I would switch tennis shoes to tennis shoes instead of dress shoes when I walked downtown in Chicago. My walk to the train station was 1 mile, and then my walk from the train station to my office was 1 mile. So when I was walking 2 miles, I was thinking, oh, dress shoes, switch to tennis shoes, that helped. But again, the tennis shoes were bigger. Just didn't catch that. Again, still had the leg cramps, still had the skin tag. My shirts now are 2XL. And my vision started changing. But again, vision's changed. I could read all the way down on the chart. My vision now is, I need glasses to drive. Just getting older, right? Again, you can sort of see my face is sort of changing as time goes by. But again, this is 1985, over 10 years, nothing really noticeable. We had our first daughter. Then we had 2 kids in 1986. We had our son and our young oldest daughter. And again, I'm sort of can wear my sport jacket that I had in high school. Within the next 2 years, I couldn't wear that anymore. I was too big for that. Again, Easter, taking the kids for a little walk around the block. Again, you'll notice I am getting a little puffier looking. Again, in 1987 at Christmas, again, You can sort of see I do have a little bit, getting the double chin, getting a little bit heavier set. 1988. Moved to Wisconsin in 1989. Started working in Wisconsin. Again, my face is starting to look a little different, but if you notice, Kath changes too. Everybody changes, so you don't quite realize that you're changing. My sex drive was very low. I had my leg cramps, snoring, skin tag. Feet are now 13, 14 in size. Wedding rings hard to remove. As a structural engineer, I had to make job site visits. And one of the requirements is that you don't wear jewelry because you might get caught up into mechanisms and stuff. And then when it starts getting hard, yes, you have a little oil or something to help it coming off, but it wasn't hard to put on and off 2 years ago. My weight was about 240 pounds at this stage. Christmas 1989, again a little bit puffy around the face. Then we had our third child in 1992. Again, you can see how massive my face has gotten on that. Again, I was having sleep apnea. Kath would be panicking because I would be getting stop breathing when I'm sleeping. It was very worrisome to you, right, Kath? I had headaches. They were bad. They were always being told it's sinus infection. I had excess sweating, low sex drive, leg cramps, snoring, sleep apnea, skin tags. My shoe size now were 15. I could not remove my wedding ring, and I weighed 310 pounds. Yes, so I was getting fat. That's why my ring couldn't pull off. I had sciatic nerve pain that would race down my leg. I couldn't drive a car for more than 20 minutes. You're seeing the doctor. It's sinus infection. They go in, they do some type of electrical check on your nerve for your leg. Oh, you do have sciatic nerve problems, but there's nothing we can do for you. Oh, that's good. So, at this time, in the US, we have medical insurance is brought through your company. My company switched ownership, and at that time, we went from our insurance plan to a HMO. Our HMO required me to change doctor. And I was damn lucky because this occurred. The doctor looked at my bones because of my sciatic nerve, and he was saying, boy, Bill, you got really huge bone structure. Oh, you have headaches. Oh, you have this. I've had 2 other patients that have had issues like this, and it was called acromegaly. I'm going to have you do some blood test. Come back with the blood test. Blood test showed very high levels of prolactin, very high level of growth hormones. Okay, we know what the next stage is. We're going to have the MRI. MRI comes back, and the MRI says, I have an empty stela, which means there's no pituitary there. And oh, Bill, did you have pituitary surgery before? No. Okay, we're going to take you to a CAT scan. The CAT scan had shown, CAT scan is more for taking a look at the bone structure than the MRI, and they saw that the tumor had grown down into the sinus passage. The tumor was so big that the original doctor that was reading the MRI did not see it because the pituitary is small. Here's this massive tumor in the space where I should have had a small pituitary gland. So, okay, then it becomes, oh, we have to do the surgery. So December 13th or something like that in '94, I had surgery. Okay, the doctor went a lot longer than they thought. The doctor was rushed to go someplace else. He goes on vacation. I come back out of surgery. I'm glad. I wake up, I see Kath and my mom doing a crossword puzzle. Kath is an English teacher by trade. My mom's a first grade teacher. They love word games and stuff. They're happy. In this hospital for about a week. You're in the very intensive care where they bring all this very serious people in. You're there for a day or 2. They take you to the step-down unit. The girl that would do my blood test at night had this really odd colored hair for this time frame, multiple color, but she was a fun person. She wakes you up, she takes your blood. She had humor to her. She was pleasant. The nursing staff has always been, and the technicians have always been very good to me, So I feel lucky on that. But pre-surgery, I had the headache, sweating, low sex drive, leg cramps, snoring, sleep apnea, shoe size. I go down through the whole list. But post-surgery, I had excess urination. I needed to urinate, 2-3 times a night, maybe 4 on a bad night. I still had my excess sweating. That did not go away. I still had the low sex drive. My shoes didn't really change size. I was 14, 15. I still have the joint pains that we probably all have. I still had the numbness in the upper part of my leg here. I had the elevated prolactin, growth hormone levels were still high for me after the surgical removal. So they put me on promethazine, which was supposed to knock that down. I started to have more emotional swings. Some positive things, instantly the headaches were gone. I did not have the headaches. The severe headaches were gone. So things were getting better. I did get scheduled for radiation treatment. They put me on the promethazine, hoping that that would take my levels down to appropriate levels. It did not. I got scheduled for 25 treatments of radiation. Basically, they give you a device that clamps your head into position so when they shoot the radiation, they can focus the radiation. During the radiation event, I lost all sense of smell, taste. I could eat anything. I would not taste anything unless it was like a hot, spicy thing. But anything sweet, anything, I just lost any ability to smell or taste. I was weak and tired after the radiation, during the radiation process, felt a little bit ill. I lost 30 pounds. One of the few times where I can say, I've lost weight. But the doctor said you should not lose weight. I was lucky, my place of work, I was able to work 4 hours a day. Then in the afternoon, I had my radiation treatment. But one of the disappointing part of this is you got this goal, you're gonna make it through your 25 radiation treatment. So you get to your 25th day, and they say, oh, Bill, you're doing so good. We're going to go with 5 more. You don't know how disappointed I was. The fact that I was done with this, and you get told at the end of your 25th radiation that you're going to be there. That was a disappointment for me. But if it helped me, that's good. It just was something you're driving to make that 25th day. That 25th day comes, and you're like, good. Oh no, 5 more. If anybody is ever involved with people going through harsh thing, you should tell them maybe it's going to be the 30 days, and if it's 25, they might be happier. Okay, this is after the radiation. This is a family reunion in 1995. I had finished my treatment. I was still waking up 3 or 4 times at night to urinate. But this was a warm summer, and I was starting to feel dizzy. I didn't dawn on me that this dizziness was the fact that I was getting dehydrated. I never put that together, but once I figured that out and made sure anytime we hiked or bicycled that I had excess water to drink, the dizziness just went away. So, the dehydration for me was, I think, something that the doctor should have mentioned to me, that I should be uptaking my water a little bit more. When you urinate as much as I did, they have you urinate into, measure urine, measure the water in, and what they tell you, oh, Bill, you drink a lot and you urinate a lot. No, that's what it is. But if you don't, you're extremely thirsty, you need to drink. And to me, I would recommend that you drink what you need. It's better than being dizzy and feeling sick from dehydration. Again, my sous size was 15, my weight was about 280 pounds at this stage. Testosterone. When you have this, when they say you have no pituitary gland, they radiate it, you would think they would test for all the hormones that are missing, but they don't. They have only a few key ones. Testosterone is a sex hormone, so if they don't complain, don't do anything about it. I had no sex drive. I was tired. It was very, very low. When I finally read up and I said, oh, should I ask my doctor? I asked my doctor and said, oh yeah, we should do this test. But why in the hell didn't you do it before? Why do I have to tell you I have a problem for you to say we should look at this? Then the first thing at that time, the insurance covered shots. So I got the shots. You would get this extreme, after the shot, you would feel like a 17-year-old. You had that sex drive, you had the anger, you had to control your anger because you're at a meeting, someone's doing something, it's like being a 17, 16-year-old, and that anger is, and then you dive off to be someone that can barely stay awake at the end of the 2-week cycle. Then you get the shot, but the issue for me with the shot was I was allergic to something in the carrier of that. So at first it was like a little bee bite, and then it got bigger and bigger. Then they said, okay, we'll go to the androgel patch, which were patches that you put on. That worked well. It sort of kept me, they keep you at slightly below low normal for whatever reason. I did feel better. The issue with that is after so many years, it started wearing away my skin, wearing the patches for extreme time. So then the next one is the androgel, which I'm currently on. And again, they keep your level at a low level, but it's much better than having none. July 1988, my youngest daughter, my mom, who was always a very important person to me. Again, this is us at Prince Edward Island with my daughter, Beatrice. Again, it's good life. You can enjoy your life after the surgery, after everything. Then my company sent me to Cairo. I spent 2 years on and off in Cairo. Very interesting, enjoyable thing. The thing I have found is traveling helps me with my pains and different things. It helps me see something different. I see a beautiful sunset. I had my first picture is a beautiful sunset. You sit there, you see the beautiful color of the trees, or you see the beautiful sunset. It makes your mind not think the fact that your hips are hurting or your hands are hurting. Just having something that's different has helped me. Again, still a heavy-set person at this in 2005. You can see my mom. Again, my mom was about 5'1". My wife, as you can see, my wife goes up and down in size. We all do change. Just, not the people with acromegaly, but we all do change. Again, our 4 kids. Again, I'm a little bit puffy still. Here's my siblings. My oldest sister is in front of me. She's about 5'2". My next sister is about 5'6". I'm about 5'10". My brothers are 5'8" and about 5'11". At my brother's wedding, older brother's wedding, his mother-in-law would tap me on the shoulder and say, "Oh, John, should you guys be leaving next?" Thinking I was my brother. We were very similar. People could mistake us as being identical people. I was just slightly bigger, but we had very similar, our overall looks and stuff were very similar. But as you can see, we have changed slightly in our appearance. Then in 2009, I got an assignment to work in Libya for 2 years. Excellent. Warm climate, really, it does feel good. Dry, warm climate is good. Plus, Libya is a treasure of ancient civilization. This happens to be a Roman Colosseum that I'm in. But the history, to see the Berbers, to see people living in the desert, homes that have been there for 2,000 years, is just amazing. And again, that's something that makes you forget the pains and different things. Having that different experience has been, I think, very useful for me. Again, every couple months we needed to go to Malta to get our visa. Again, I'm a little better shape because I think I'm walking more, the warm climate, you're not stuck in the house. This happens to be my last night in Tripoli. This is about when the war was breaking out. They took us from our guest house and they moved us outside the city for a short time. We got evacuated with the U.S. Embassy. This happens to be the ferry the U.S. Embassy brought on shore to help remove their staff and other Americans in that area. The issue that the sea was very rough at that time. They couldn't get us out of the port. They finally, because of the war was approaching, they brought the ship out at harbor. One of the positive things was to see the Orion the P-3 Orion aircraft flying overhead, you know you were protected. So that was a positive feel for me. Many of the people on this boat ride were injured because it was very rough seas. Then I moved to Vancouver. This is Kath and I in Stanley Park. We enjoy this area. It's beautiful. You can walk, you can ride your bike. There's a lot of opportunities, very beautiful area we live in here. Very great place. Again, Stanley Park in 2015. This year, I did more bike riding. I rode my bike every other day to work. My work is about 13.5 miles, so that's about 27 miles of bike riding a day, every other day. Then we took a ride to Victoria. Yes, Victoria, you're on the ferry for a good part of it, so you're cheating quite a bit, but I can say we rode to Victoria. And again, it was fun. It's just something different. Exploring something different is helpful to me. Again, as I said, my older brother and I, at one time, you could be confused thinking one of us is the other, but you can see how we've changed quite a bit over our journey over the last 40 years. Current conditions. I still sweat. My undergarment here will be very wet and stuff. I still have joint pains. Right now I have severe hip pains. Before I came to stand up here to do the presentation, like anytime I do a presentation, I take Tylenol because I have pain. I need to take care of it. Standing in line is bad. If I'm standing for a long period of time, my hip pain becomes very extreme. I have a hard time standing. I have issues standing. But Kath and I can walk 8, 10, 15 miles. We have walked from the West End all the way up to UBC, and it has not been hard. But it's that physical standing, not moving. I believe nerve pain is what causes this, but I still have the numbness in the upper left-hand leg, and that sort of migrates back into the hips. AFib was something I got last year. Went to the doctor's listening to my heart rate, and he said, "Oh, Bill, you got a heart rate of 170, and it's misfiring, and So all last year, they got to play around with my heart. They finally put me on a medication that dropped my heart rate down to 32 beats per minute. That is not a pleasant experience. Okay, but my heart has started firing correctly, and so I'm currently taking blood thinners because they're worried about stroke, and I do get monitored. I need to go and see my doctor shortly. But again, it was just something that occurred. Is it the stress? Is it the fact I don't sleep well? What is the issue? Hell, I do not know. I can be extremely tired, and I'll need to crash. There'll be a Saturday, it's 10 o'clock in the morning, and I'll just go to sleep. Just sometimes. The other times, it's perfectly fine. I have swelling in the ankles and legs. Last year, I found out I had gallbladder issues and liver disease. I went to the hospital. I had severe pain here. They see I am AFib. They say, it could be something related to the heart. So we were there till I think we went in around 10 o'clock, Kath. We didn't get out till about 2 o'clock in the morning. They take a test, and the test comes back. It shows you're borderline. They do another test, and then they do another test, and finally you're released. And after that, then the doctor had me do an ultrasonic, and that's when they found the gallbladder issue. So I know I now have another little issue to deal with. I do have sleep issues. I wear one of these devices because, with the AFib, I thought it'd be interesting to track what my heart rate is. My resting heart rate ranges in around 40 or so, 40 to 50. And I can see when I exercise, I increase my heart rate. But the part I thought was interesting is some weeks, I consider a good amount of sleep for me is 6 hours. But I have weeks where, I'm lucky to get 2 to 4 hours because I worry. I wake up, because I have to urinate, I wake up and I start thinking about what I have to do. We got this big Lion Gate wastewater treatment plant, or I got this project down in Trinidad, or I have something else going on. If I cannot train my mind not to think about something I have to do, I start thinking about it, and then I'm starting to solve a problem that probably could have waited till in the morning. But because I'm awake and I start thinking, I can destroy my week. And then this is why I think this Saturday I'll crash, because I did not sleep well all week. Never dawned on me, but when you have something that looks back, you can sort of trace what's occurring to you. And again, I do extreme walk. The thing I like about this is now, I tell the doctor, oh, I exercise a lot. Oh yeah, 300 pounds. Yeah, you exercise much. But now I can show people that I do exercise. When I go on foreign assignments for my company, they do require me to do some physicals. They put me on a treadmill, and every time the person that's doing the treadmill will say, they see this big fat guy, oh, he can't do much. And they'll say, oh, wow, you do better than I do. Yes. Kath and I, we have taken bicycle trips, 3-day trips, 4-day trips. We have done, exercise. We can walk from the West End across the bridge, go up, we'll walk along the coast, go up the stairs, and be at UBC. Or we do ride long distance. So, I think heart-wise, I'm fairly healthy, but they see a fat person in front of them. And then when they put me on the treadmill, they'll all of a sudden start realizing that I do have ability to exercise. So I think something like this might help a doctor, because you tell the doctor you exercise, oh, sure, Bill. My son is a geologist student at Purdue University, came over this summer. My daughter is a student at Emily Carr University, so they were here for a short time this summer. Great life, I have a very good life. I have family support, I have Kath's family, I have my family, we have our family. So I think life overall is good. Yes, right now I have pain in my hip, but how many people do you see when you take the SkyTrain? There's a lot of people with different pains. You see people limping, you see that. It's just not me. Everybody else in the world seems to have issues and problems. So I can live with my issues. And since this Halloween's coming up and we are people with brain surgery, I always thought this thing is funny. After they were done slowly cutting off the top of my head, they reached into my skull and began spooning out my brains into adjacent bowl. I always, jack-o'-lanterns and kids, we always had a good time back home doing that at this time of year. And we do have 2 grandchildren. We do have a good life. I do like to camp. We do things we like. And I've been a very lucky person in my view. Any questions?
Is your sense of smell and taste ever?
Yes, it comes back. But like my taste of chocolate tastes different to me than it did pre-radiation. Have no clue why. Things taste a little bit different. Things that I didn't like, I can eat now. Things things are different. Well, I just take the hormonal replacements now. I'm on prednisone, I believe. I used to be cortisone. Different places put me on different medications. I'm on the thyroid medication because I have no thyroid. My understanding, it all came out because the tumor was all.
I know exactly what you're talking about. The empty stella. That's literally where your tooth area is completely disintegrated.
That's how the thing was so big was growing into your side.
Growing into the, rotted away the bottom of the skull and growing it. So yes, it was a sinus infection, but not what he was thinking it was. And the issue was my family doctor, his expertise was ear, nose, throat. So he saw the problem that he's used to. And that's a problem that I think all of us in life need to be aware of. I'm a structural engineer. The problem might not be a structural problem. It might be something else. You need to listen to people. And I think us in the professional world sometimes get too focused on our specialty. You need to fix this bridge or else, maybe there's another solution. And we should always be looking at what are the other options, what are the underlying problems. It's just maybe not what I think it is because that's my expertise.
You talk about
Yeah, the first time it was like a little bump, and then the next time it sort of hurt and it was a bigger swelling, and the next time it became a big swelling
Underneath your skin?
underneath my skin and my butt.
Like a ball-sized ball by any chance, and then like
Oh.
very red?
Yes. And the doctor was basically saying that it was an allergic reaction to the carrier or something.
But that's how they tell if you're allergic to the medication.
I don't think it's the testosterone I was allergic to. I think it was the carrier, they said,
In the medication?
in the medication.
There was something in the medication that you had a
Reaction to.
Or you couldn't do that medication.
Right, but they, don't do it, to me, wouldn't they test you, oh, these are the things in there, and do a little patch test to see which one it is, so I could tell the doctor in the future, oh, I'm allergic to this? No, I have to tell them I'm allergic to the testosterone shot. And then they'll say, oh, why are you taking testosterone androgel? That's, would it be better if they would do, but it costs money, so therefore they don't do it. I've been very happy with the medical service I've gotten in Canada. I think the doctors and stuff are great. I think my endocrinologist is good. I personally like, my daughter had her appendix out this year. It's nice not going to a hospital with a credit card.